I ran over 150 test launches this weekend across 8 of the top combos that have started to surface for Tricerapress to pressure test and see if this blade has a place in the meta. I logged every single result in my competitive tracking spreadsheet, which can be found in the link right down below, conveniently right next to the like and subscribe button, and developed some interesting theories on how to best utilize this blade to maximize its potential. My goal with this video is to build on the day 1 and week 1 testing that other bladers and content creators have already done with this blade to really put these combos to the test and see if they have long-term competitive viability and where Tricerapress might fit in the meta. So are you ready to take Tricerapress to the next level? Let's get into it. Just before that, this video would not be possible without sponsors of the channel, Bays & Bricks and Noozle 3D. You can use code WIZARD at both shops to get 8% off your next Bays & Bricks order, as well as 10% off your next Noozle 3D order. Bays & Bricks is my favorite vendor to shop at and get all of the upcoming releases, as well as the latest and greatest Beyblade products. And Noozle 3D is the best partner for 3D printed Beyblade parts and accessories, and is what I utilize in all of my testing, as well as how I display my blades on my shelf behind me. Using code WIZARD at Bays & Bricks and Noozle 3D is an amazing way to help support the channel and help me keep providing this content to you. But if you want to support even more, you can hit the join button down below to become an official member of the Anti-Wizard Wizard Club through YouTube channel memberships. Or if you just really like this video, you can hit the thanks button to leave a super thanks, which is basically like leaving a little tip on the video. But thank you again for watching. Your support means the world. And with that being said, let's jump right into Tricerapress. So I used the same exact testing process for Tricerapress that I did with Scorpio Spear when that video came out, because it seemed to work really well and the community responded really positively to that in-depth methodology. The basics are that I did 20 battles per combo with 10 battles versus the King of Stamina Wizard Rod 960 Ball and 10 battles versus the proven attacker in Phoenix Wing 360 Rush. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure every single battle recorded is as consistent as possible. So when launching against Wizard Rod, I'll launch Wizard Rod at a slight tilt, and then I will reverse dash tungsten drop onto Wizard Rod with the Tricerapress combo. And versus Phoenix Wing, my battles happen at the exact same time, launched towards the back of the stadium with the exact same strength, thanks to my Noozle 3D dual launcher links, which you can get at the website down below. And remember to use code WIZARD for that 10% off. Now, any battles that were off or not consistent for any reason, whether it was an early, extreme due to positioning, or I wasn't able to get a reverse dash versus Wizard Rod, whatever it might be, if it wasn't consistent with the other tests, then it was not included in the dataset at all. If you want more detail on the testing process, be sure to check out my Scorpio Spear video, which will be linked down below. That goes into a little bit more detail on how this all worked. Check it out. With that said, let's dive into the combos I tested and the results that I found. For the Tricerapress testing, I basically took 3 steps to figure out what combos I wanted to put to the test. First, I reached out to various Discord communities that have seen the blade and started to see what's rising and what's flopping. I also looked online to see if there were any tournament results, whether they were in the US or Asia, anywhere, to see what was finding success. And lastly, I just kind of took my personal intuition through a lot of different testing processes and came up with a couple of different variations of win conditions and strategies and combos that reflected those decisions. These are the combos that I landed on testing for Tricerapress. Tricerapress 360 Rush, Tricerapress 960 Wedge, Tricerapress 160 Kick, Tricerapress 560 Level, and Tricerapress 760 Low Rush. Spoiler alert, after testing those 5 combos, it led me to want to test 3 additional combos based on the initial results I was seeing. And those combos are Tricerapress 560 Rush, Tricerapress 160 Rush, and Tricerapress 160 Low Rush. Now these combos lean into 2 main thematic elements of the blade. There's the defensive nature of the blade, which is kind of how it was marketed and intended to be used. So thinking of defense combos with the wedge and so on and so forth. And then there's a more aggressive way of utilizing the blade, thanks to those 3 heavy set horns on the top and outer sides of the blade that I think have great competitive attacking potential. Now, before testing, I wasn't really quite sure what to expect with this blade. There's been some community commentary on it being sort of mid. There's others that have said it to went all the way to first place finishes at their local tournaments when it first started surfacing. It was really perplexing, to say the least. And you know, when you look closely at this blade, its design is really interesting. Those 3 horns are extremely angular, and it's got a lot of rough edges around it that I think give it a lot of attack and counterattack potential, and it's just begging to be ripped as hard as you can. So I did. And the results, honestly, were really impressive. More so than I thought they would be given the community commentary around the blade. Now, across all of the combos I tested, there were 2 that stood out more than the rest. Those are Tricerapress 360 Rush and Tricerapress 160 Rush. Now, both of these setups absolutely popped off in testing with a 1.5 win-loss ratio. That translates to 12 wins and 8 losses across all 20 launches I did for each of these combos, which is kind of insane when you think about the blades they were going against being Wizard Rod 960 Ball and Phoenix Wing 360 Rush. Now, let's talk about why these combos work well. Both of these variants on Rush really thrive on a tilted launch with strong interaction that lets Tricerapress shine. When leaning into this aggressive and hard launch style, Tricerapress is not only able to knock around and contend with these 2 blades that I tested against, but it can take the Stamina King like Wizard Rod on Ball and knock it straight out of the stadium or even burst it entirely consistently, and that is the key. This is not a blade that should be trying to outlast stamina types or utilize defensive capabilities to stay in the stadium. It's got aggression. It's got game on that regard, and it will bully you out of the stadium or burst you entirely more consistently than almost any other blade that I've ever used. And with at least my copy of the blade weighing in at 36.7 grams, it's got the weight behind it to do it. Now, regarding the AVA matchup versus Phoenix Wing, both of these combos held their own. The way this blade is balanced on Rush, especially with 360, you're not just getting early game aggression, but you're getting really great late game endurance considering the blade and the bit. Those upper-outer horns on the blade not only do a great job at clashing with other attack types, but also redirecting the momentum from hits, helping it last, especially in other Rush v Rush matchups. Now, in AVA matchups, I had a slight preference for 160 Rush, with the weight of the 160 aligning with the little screw on the end to give as much power in that side of the blade as possible. Aligning the ratchet that way and having those hits from Tricerapress be as heavy and destabilizing as possible really amplified that win condition for Tricerapress, and it found really great success versus Phoenix Wing. All this is telling me that if you're able to launch both tactically and aggressively, you're gonna have a good chance of finding success with Tricerapress on 360 or 160 Rush. And that's consistent across the AVA as well as matches versus stamina types. Now, we can't just talk about the overperformers, let's talk a little bit about the underperforming combos. 960 Wedge had a rough go in my combo testing, with only a 0.25 win rate and a negative 0.65 points earned on average per launch. This combo naturally just didn't seem to have the ramp up, the mobility, or the strike pressure that Tricerapress seems to want. I think this blade's strengths rely in how it's able to counterattack and put heavy early pressure on opponents with the blade design, and this 960 Wedge defensive stamina combo just kind of tried to make it a square peg fitting in a round hole. Didn't really work for me. Just generally for build strategy, despite the way the blade is marketed, I would go for a more aggressive or attack-centric build than anything that's meant to be defensive or stamina-based if you're trying to bring this blade to the top levels of competition. You can see the way it performs in the numbers. Even when it does win, it's typically not by outspin across all of the combos. It's winning by forcing aggressive finishes. That's why Rush works so well with this blade. It lets Tricerapress have hard, fast, and wide swinging attacks. You want to be coming in at a tilted angle, coming off that extreme rail, and knocking opponents into the pocket finish or extreme zone as soon as possible. I was thinking about comparisons for Tricerapress, and I would honestly say it feels a little bit like a hybrid between Whale Wave and Nightmare. It has similar aggressive potential to Whale Wave, but I think it has a bit better stamina and is able to stay spinning a bit longer. And then when you think about Nightmail, it probably has slightly less effective counterattacking with slightly more effective initial attacks. Either way, I would say if you like using those blades, Tricerapress would be a great option to consider as well. And no, I'm not gonna sit here as a YouTuber or content creator and say, this is the meta-breaking blade. Like, it is not going to dethrone any other attacker. It's not gonna take Phoenix Wing or Tyranno Bead or Arrow Pegasus and knock them out the window. And I don't think it has to still have a place in your deck and be up for consideration. I think depending on your typical launch style, the rest of your deck composition, Tricerapress definitely has potential as an aggressive attacking or counter-attacking option in any meta contending deck. If you build this blade for pressure, it delivers. So to summarize, this blade is really, really strong. I do think it has meta potential. It's probably going to perform best in an attack-oriented combo with 360 or 160 on Rush. It's pretty comparable to blades like Nightmail or Whale Wave when it comes to the playstyle on an aggressive setup. No, it's not going to dethrone Phoenix Wing or Tyranno Beats, but I don't think it has to, because I do think you can find success with it alongside those blades with a stamina anchor in your deck. That's just my analysis and perception of the data that I was able to gather. But if you're interested in looking at all of the data yourself, again, it's in the spreadsheet in the description down below for you to peruse at your leisure, right next to the like and subscribe button, remind you. But with that said, I'm curious what you think about this blade. Have you gotten your hands on it? Have you played against it? What combos have you seen personally or heard about that you think have some potential here? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear how you guys are interacting and using Tricerapress. With that being said, like the video if you like the video and subscribe if you haven't already for more awesome Beyblade content in your feed very, very soon. Don't forget to use code WIZARD at Bays and Bricks and Noozle3D for 8 and 10% off your next purchase at those stores. It's an amazing way to support the channel and get you a bit of a discount. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a channel member with the join button down below or leaving a super thanks tip at the thanks button below as well. Thanks again so much for watching. My name is Ryan with Anti-Wizard Wizard Club, and welcome to the club.